Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, I'm going to be teaching us how to make this beautiful A-shaped gown. And these are the features of this gown. First, I'll be starting with the sleeve. It has a 3 steps flare sleeve. You can see on both hands and it's really beautiful. And then this gown also has a turtle neckline. And I have these pleats. I created 9 pleats around the chest area, which is actually contributing to the beauty of this gown. And this is the back view of the gown. Here I have my zipper sitting nicely at the back here. If you take a close look at this part, you will notice that I do not have a zip allowance. So in this video, you'll be learning how to fix your zipper without actually adding a zip allowance when drafting your pattern. Okay? So in this video, you will learn how to fix your zipper neatly and it will be a visible zipper like this. And this is what the neckline looks like at the back. This gown is really beautiful and very simple to make. I hope this is something you are interested in learning. If this is it, make sure to click on the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe and put on your notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So let's get right into the video. I'll be making use of this emerald green fabric and it is a stretchy crepe fabric. So the measurements needed for this gown will appear on your screen. So having seen the measurements, I'm going to go ahead and fold my fabric. And to determine the amount of fabric to fold, you ask yourself how wide you want the A shape to be. And for me, the A shape, I want it to be 17 inches on fold. So when we open up, it will be 34 inches. So I'm going to fold 17 inches. So I folded my fabric and I have 17 inches on fold. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draw the shoulder line, which is the starting line. So having drawn the shoulder line, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the chest line. And to get the chest line, you divide the bust circumference by 6 plus 2.5 and that will give you your chest line. It works perfectly. And for this client, it is 8.5 inches. Bust divided by 6 plus 2.5, you have your chest line. And take note, I'm placing my tape from the shoulder line. Next, I'm going to mark the waistline, which is 16 inches. Next is the hip line, and that's 24 inches. Then the full length of the gown is 60 plus my hemming allowance of 1.5 inches. That's where my fabric ends. So having marked out these lines, I'm going to straighten them all out. So now these are chest line, this is the waistline, this is the hip line, and that's the full length and the hemming allowance. So here on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement plus half inch for joining the sleeve. The shoulder is 15. When you divide 15 by 2, that will give me 7.5. So plus half inch for joining the sleeve. So that's going to give me 8 inches. So I'll mark here at 8 inches. And then I'm going to mark the neck width of 3 inches. Still on the shoulder line, I'm marking my 3 inches here. And then here where we have the shoulder measurement, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. So here on the chest line, I will mark the same shoulder measurement I have here on the chest line, which is that 8 inches I have on the shoulder line. So I'm going to mark it here. So now I can connect with a straight line. So this is now our armhole line. So I'll get the midpoint of this armhole. Just place my tape from the shoulder slant to the chest line here. I'll get the midpoint. And then I'll go in by ½ inch. I'll connect it back to the shoulder tip like this. And see, I'm connecting with a slanted line. Then here on the chest line, I'm going to divide the bust measurement by 4, which is 9 inches. And then I'll curve the armhole to meet it at this point. So this is now the back armhole. So to get the front armhole still at the midpoint, I will go in by 3/4 of an inch. Remember that the front I went in by half inch for the front. Remember that for the back I went in by half inch. For the front I'm going in by 3/4 of an inch. So I'll go ahead and connect it back to the shoulder tip and curve it also to meet this 9 inches mark I have here. Here on the chest line, I already have the bust measurement, which is 9 inches. That's the bust divided by 4, that's 9 inches. I'll add 2 inches to that measurement, which 1 inch is for ease and 1 inch is for my sewing allowance. So I'm marking here at 11 inches. On the waistline, I'll divide the waist circumference also by 4, and that will give me 7.5. I will also add 2 inches to that measurement. On the hip line here, I'm going to repeat the same thing. The hip divided by 4 is 10 inches, so plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance. And then what I have at the hem, remember I said I want the gown to be 17 inches wide, so I'll just open up to that 17 inches that I have here. So this is my 17 inches here. So I'll bring in my long ruler and connect the points. So is. So I'm just going to blend in this point that is sharp. Just come out a little and blend it. You don't want any sharp points. So I'll come to the neckline here. I'm going to be using a neck depth of half inch for the back. We're going to have a collar on this gown. So I'm using a neck depth of half inch for the back. And already we have our neck width of 3 inches. So this is our back neckline. I'm just going to curve it out like this. And then for the front neck depth, I'm using a neck depth of same 3 inches. That's 3 by 3. So already we have our neck width of 3 inches. So I'll mark the same 3 inches here. So I'll go ahead and curve it out like this. So this is our front neckline and our back neckline. So we are done with the drafting. So take note that I drafted for both front and back together. The back neckline is higher while the back armhole too is more outward. So I'm going to cut on the back first. Yeah. So this is what we have after cutting. So this is what our back is going to look like exactly. So here at the hem, at this down part, I don't want to leave this sharpness. I want the down part to have this nice curve. So at this part, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Take note that this is where my 60 inches end. So this is my hemming allowance. So at this side, I'll come up by 1 inch. I want the down part to have that curve. So I came up by 1 inch. I'll get the midpoint of 17 inches, which is the total I have here, which is 8.5. I'll use the curved part of my ruler to curve it this way. You see? So this is because I don't want to leave the down part to just be straight and having that sharp look. I want it to be curved. So this is what the down part will look like. So right now you can see we still have our front neckline and our back armhole. I'm going to place this on leftover fabric and cut out exactly what I have here, and then we'll alter this to be our front. So I've cut out the second piece. So one will be for the front and the other will be for the back. But for this back, I'm going to have a zipper at the back. Take note that I didn't add zip allowance. I want this zipper to stop from the shoulder to the waistline because we're going to have a collar at the back of on the neckline of this cloth. So we need to have a zipper so that the head can easily pass. But I'm not adding zip allowance to this outfit. I'll show us how to fix our zipper without the zip allowance. So here is the waistline. The back waistline is at 15 inches. I'm marking at 15 inches here. So I'm going to slash open at the center back. You want to make sure that you have ironed the back piece. So I'm separating the front from the back. and then I'm going to open it up like this. Make sure that the neckline is aligned. Just going to pin it, and make sure that you have ironed this place, that's the center back here. So I'm going to slash open the zip allowance, or the part where I'm going to fix my zipper, not zip allowance. You see? So that means the other part of the back is going to be closed. I'm just going to have my zipper here on this side. So I'm going to keep the back piece aside so that we can cut our front neckline. So our front neckline is 3 by 3. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. And then the front armhole as well. Okay, so now we have our front piece. So I'm going to keep them aside, and then we'll treat the sleeves. So to draft our three steps flare, you need your basic sleeve pattern. This is the basic sleeve of the client I'm making this outfit for. And the sleeve length here I have is 17 inches. So I'm going to have three steps. The longest of the flare is going to be 17 inches. The difference in the length of the flare is going to be 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to mark 4 here, and then I'll mark another 4 here. So this is going to be the shortest flare. This is the second flare, and then this will be the longest. So to achieve this flare, I will get the midpoint of this part. So here is the midpoint, 2¼ and then I'm going to draw a line all the way up like this. You see? So I'm going to be doing a slash and spread method. Like I said, this is number 1, that's the first flare. This is number 2, and this is number 3. We're going to start with the longest. So I'll get my paper scissors and slash this center open. So I'll slash this middle open like this. I won't cut through at this point. Can you see? I slashed open and left this point. Just leave like half of an inch. So this, I will use this to open up to achieve the flare I want to achieve. So I'll bring in my fabric. So this is the folded part of my fabric. I want this flare to be 13 inches wide. That's the opening of the flare. So once I have 13 inches, that's fine. So I open it up like this. Can you see what I have here? I'll just increase a little. Can you see? I'll make sure that the opening stops here. So now there's something we need to take note of. This is how much I spread out. I spread out this part with 10 inches. Okay, so by from measuring from here to here, you see I have about 14.5, and that's it. So I'm going to measure what I have here on the second part. Can you see? I have 7.5. So we need to write down this 7.5. So for the second one, it is 7.5. Now for the first one here, I have 5 inches. So I'm going to write it down. So that's 5 inches. Because we're going to be using this pattern to cut for all the 3 steps. So I'm going to create a curve here. You see, I'm connecting this point like this to this side. So you can see that the down part of our flare is not straight, it's having this curve here. So I'll go ahead and cut out. For this sleeve, I didn't add any sewing allowance. So I'll just come here to this side and add my sewing allowance. The sewing allowance I added to the actual outfit. So I'm going to add 1.5 here. I added 1 inch to the actual outfit, but here I'm adding 1.5. So I'm just going to come out here by 1.5 and then I'll connect it like this. Can you see? I'll just connect it like this and then I'll go ahead and cut out this sleeve. Okay, so this is what my sleeve looks like. You see? So this is how the down part of our sleeve will be. So I'm going to place this on my fabric and cut the second one. Of course, I will do that off camera. Okay, so I'll drop the first sleeve aside and then bring in my pattern. So I'll cut out this part since we are done with the first, that's the longest length. So I'll cut out this part. So number 3 now is off. So we're left with number 2 and number 1. So I'm going to place my fabric also like this. And then the folded part will align with this center front here. So remember we wrote down 7 inches. So 7.5 inches. So this 7.5 is how much I will spread out this second step. So I'm going to measure and see what I have here. 7.5. I'll pin down this part and then confirm what I have here. Okay, so now I have up to 7.5. So I'll just pin this part down. Then I'll come to this side and add the same 1.5 I added to the upper, that to the other sleeve. Then I'll connect it also like this. You see? And then I'll connect the points like this as well. Just curve it out. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this is what our second flare will look like. You see? So this is what the second flare will look like. So now it's time for us to cut the third one. So I'm also going to cut out this step. So we're done with number 2 now. I'll cut it out. So I've also folded my fabric and this is for the last flare, which is the shortest. I'm going to spread it out by 5 inches, which is what we marked or what we took note of at the beginning. So from this part to this part, I will measure 5 inches. First, I'm going to also go ahead and pin this part down to make sure that it's aligning with the folded part. Okay, so once I have up to 5 inches, which is what I have here right now, you see, once I have up to 5 inches, that's fine. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. You see, just follow the curve as it is like this. So at this point here, I will also come out by 1.5 inches, which is what I added to the others. So then I'll connect it like this. So first I'll bring in my scissors and cut it out. Last step, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to place this on my fabric and cut the second sleeve. So let me place them and show us. So this is the longest, which is the 17 inches, and this is the second sleeve, which is 13 inches. And then this is the last step. So can you see what our sleeve looks like? This is first, second, and third. That's why we needed to take note of the differences in their slash and spread. You cannot use what you used at the down part for the second one. If not, this sleeve will not align. The upper part will be wider than this. So this is just so that it aligns properly. You can see what we have here. All the sides are aligned and it just opens up nicely. So for the sleeve, this is what I'm going to do. I'll just weave the down part and then fold in half of an inch. I will weave the down part, fold in half of an inch. I'll repeat the same thing for the third one. I will do the same thing for the second hand. Now we are done with our cutting. For the pleats we are going to have in front, this is my front piece. So this is what I went ahead to do. At the shoulder tip here, at the slant here, I came down by 3.5 inches. So I marked 3.5 inches. At the center front, you can see my crease line. So this is my center front. I came down by 4.5 inches. And then here at the shoulder slant also, I came down by 3.5 inches. So I went ahead to use my pattern master, the curved part of my pattern master, to connect from this 3.5 inches here to the center front, which is this. Can you see? And then I went ahead to also place my curve this way, and then I connected from here to here. Can you see? So this is the curve I want to have my pleats at this part. So the next thing I went ahead to do was to measure this part. So from here, starting from this side of the armhole to this part, I have 16.5. So now this 16.5, I multiplied it by 3 and that gave me 49.5. So the width of the fabric I'm going to pleat here is supposed to be 49.5. But I also need 1 inch of the pleat to go into this armhole and then 1 inch of the pleat to also go into this armhole. So that's a total of 49 plus 2. That would be 51.5. So here, the width of my fabric that I've already cut out is 50 is 50 is this is about 50. I'm going to trim it. I need 51.5. So I'll just trim out the excess I have here so that I'm left with exactly my 51.5. You see? And then the length of the fabric is 6 inches. 6 inches, and I've hemmed 1 inch already. So I'm left with 5 inches. I beg your pardon. I cut 6 inches and I already folded 1 inch. So I am left with 5 inches. So by the time I fold half inch, I'm going to be left with 4.5 inches. So if you are working with a lightweight fabric, you can cut this fabric on fold exactly on your 4.5 inches and that's fine. But for me, because the fabric I'm working with is thick, so there is no need doubling it. If I cut it on fold, it will be too thick to pleat around here. So that is why I just cut it open. So that's it. So now I'll show us how to pleat it at the neckline here, at this curved part that we have here. So remember I said I want 1 inch to go into the armhole. So I'm going to place my fabric, leaving 1 inch out here. And you see this is our 1 inch. I'm placing it on the curve. So I'll pin this point down. So I'll be creating knife pleats. So my pleats will go towards just one direction. So I'm going to be pleating 1.5 inches or about 1 inch. I'll eyeball it. So this is 1 inch I'm pleating here. And you see this 1 inch. So you can see I folded it, making sure that my pleat is on the curved line I drew, that's on this chalk mark. So I'm pleating 1 inch. Pin it down. I'll pleat 1 inch again. You see? So I'll pleat another 1 inch. So I'll keep doing this till I get to the end here. That's to this end here. And then I'll have something like this. Can you see? So I'll keep doing it till I get to the end and I'll show us what we have. So I'm done pleating and see my piece. So I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch it on 1/2 inch. Just here at the tip on 1/2 inch. And then when I'm done, I'll bring it back and show us what we will have. And then for the back, this is our back. Remember I said we're going to have a zipper at the back of this outfit. And this is because of the color we have on the neckline. So here is the zipper I'll be using. I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch on this neckline. I'm working with a stretchy fabric. Okay, so here I'm just going to fold this into two like this. So this is my center back here. So I'm going to mark 1/2 inch diagonally. You see, 1/2 inch. This is diagonal. So I'll just notch this point. Do you see what I've done here? I've notched this point. This is what we have here. So I'm going to place my zipper. Now this is our zipper. I'm going to place the zipper. Make sure that the zipper head is down. That's like away from this notched part. So I'm just going to place it like this. So this is going to go down below it, like 4 inches or 5 inches below it. You don't want to allow it come to this side. So I'm going to pin it like this. You see? So I'll pin this way and then stitch. So I'll stitch this side and show us how to stitch this side. Okay. So as you can see, I've fixed one side of the zipper. Now watch what I did. Take note that this is my 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch I notched. While stitching on the 1/2 inch, I make sure to stitch at the tip of my zipper, because if we have 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on this side, that means we're going to have an opening of 1 inch. Do you see? That's going to be an opening of 1 inch. Can you see the space I have in between my zipper? So now to stitch this side, this is what I'm doing. I pinned my zipper on the notch I have. But you can see that it's the tip of the zipper I pinned there. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and also sew at the very tip. So you can see here that I used the exact 1/2 inch that I notched. What I notched, I used everything around here because this is the waist area. This is the waistline at the back. This is to eliminate any form of zipper bulge. And you'll notice that as I was going up, I reduced the zip allowance. That's I came out. I didn't trim out anything. What I mean is that at this point, you can see that my zipper, the allowance is more on this side. So while I kept sewing up, I kept on reducing it till almost less than 1/4 inch at the upper part. So I'm going to repeat the same thing here. You can see that I've pinned it and there's a space. So you must make sure that you leave that space that you notched, because this zipper is going to be open like this. So I'll take this to my sewing machine and repeat the same thing I have done on the other side. I'll stitch it all the way to the neckline and then I'll come back and show us what to do. So can you see I'm done stitching my zipper and this is what I have here. This is what it looks like at the back and this is what we have here in front. You see? It's giving it that nice relaxed look. So this place is still open and we're not going to leave it open like that. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine and then I'll top stitch really close. I'll top stitch like this, turn this way, that's top stitch this way, turn this way, bring it back like this. Very simple. So automatically this, by top stitching it, it will close up this part. So that was why I emphasized on the zipper head, that make sure that your zipper head is not too close to this place, so that when you are turning, you will not climb on top of the zipper head. So I'll do that and join the shoulders together and come back and show the next thing to do. So I'm done top stitching the zipper at the back, and this is what I have. I went ahead to press it. Everything is sitting well and nice. Take note that stitching this zipper to the back did not reduce my measurement, because this space I have here has replaced back the sewing allowance what I used in stitching the zipper. So you can see this space here, you can see my neckline is sitting perfectly well, just the same way I cut it. And this is what it looks like in front. Can you see that it's well relaxed? So this does not reduce your measurement. So long as you are stitching with the actual measurement, and then the space of the zipper is enough to take care of what you are stitching with, you are good to go. And then you can see I've also top stitched pleats, and this is what we have. And for the sleeves, you can see that I have my three-step sleeve, and you can see how it is sitting perfectly well. So all the parts are aligned, no one is wider than the other. So that's the essence of that measurement we took. So now it's time for us to sew the collar, or to cut the collar. So I'm going to measure the neckline. Just hold it into, to fold your fabric into two like this, the neckline like this, and then measure from here to here. So I have 8¼ inch. That's the round width of my neckline. And this neck collar I'm going to be making is going to be a rounded collar. I'll be using this paper to draft our rounded collar, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to fold it unbiased to achieve a triangular shape. So I'll fold it this way. So you can see I have a triangle shape. So remember, I measured the neckline and I got 8¼ From this part here, I'm going to come down by 8¼ inch. That's from the apex here. So I'll mark 8¼ 8¼ 8¼ 8¼ So I'm just going to connect the points like this. And then next I'm going to mark the length of the collar. And so plus the sewing allowance, I'm coming down by 2 inches. So I want, when I'm done stitching this collar, I want to be left with 1¼ inch. So I'm marking 2 inches now. Okay, so this is going to be the upper part of the collar, and this will be the down part of the collar. So let's measure and see what we have here. So can you see that I have 9 inches? Remember, I measured and I got 8¼ So this is enough to give me my allowance. I can always trim out my excess. So first I came down by 8¼ and then I went ahead to mark the length of the collar. So I'll bring in my paper scissors and cut out the shape here. So this is the upper part of our collar. And then this is the down part of the collar. So this is what our collar will look like. Can you see? So I'm going to place this on my fabric and cut out two pieces. One will serve as the lining and the other will serve as the main fabric. Okay, I've cut the main fabric and I ironed hasty to the lining and the fabric. That's for the collar. And then I also went ahead to join the upper part, and you can see I notched the upper part already. And this is what we have after pressing it. Then for one side of the collar, I folded ½ inch in and I pressed it. You'll notice that the one up I folded ½ inch and the one down I didn't fold ½ inch. So the part that has the fold is going to be the one on the front side. That's the part we're going to be seeing outside. And the side without the fold is going to be the lining side. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold this collar into two and get the midpoint. I'm going to notch this midpoint with my scissors, and I'll repeat the same thing on the gown. I'll notch the center front also. So after notching the midpoint, now the next thing I'm doing is to place the collar, making sure that the notched part, that's the center front, and the notch part on the collar are aligned. I'm pinning it to the neckline. I'm pinning from the wrong side, wrong side, and this is the part that I didn't fold. So the folded part, like I said, is going to be on the front side. So you can see that I'm not pinning the folded part. I'm pinning the side that I didn't fold half inch. So I'm just going to pin the collar around the neckline like this. So the essence of notching it so that the collar is centralized. You don't want it to tilt towards one side. You want it to have that balanced look. So I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch. This is on the wrong side, and then I'll flip over the side I said would be the right side, and then I'll flip it over and top stitch it. Okay, so that's it. So after stitching it, just watch carefully what I'm doing. I'll place them right side facing right side, and I'll close up the side. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side, right side facing right side. I'll close up the side, and then I'll flip it over to the wrong side, and sorry, I'll flip it over to the right side and top stitch it. So what I just did was to cut out my excess zipper, and this is what I will have. So now this is the right side. I'll top stitch it on the right side. I'll come back and show us the final outcome of our gown.